Thanks for, I appreciate you guys all coming here today, and really the reason that we asked for you is because we need the public's help in this incident. What we had about 3 a.m. last night was one of our canine officers and his canine partner were traveling southbound on Hall en route to a burglary in progress. When they encountered the intersection of Madison, there's a vehicle traveling at an extremely high rate of speed, about 3 times the legal limit. Veered into that officer, striking his car so hard that the officer was pinned in the vehicle, and the officer's canine partner in the back, actually, the door was forced open. The canine came out of the car. The canine at this time, and at that time, is unable to use its back leg, so it suffered catastrophic injuries. The canine, as of right now, is seeing a specialist out in Farmington Hills, and they're hoping that there is some progress that can be made on his recovery. But what you'll see in these videos today is I'm going to show you the body-worn camera first, and it really will show you from the officer's point of view the impact that the collision had, and then what you're going to see is the in-car camera video. And you're not going to see the collision, but you're going to see the aftermath of the collision in the offending vehicle. There were 5 occupants in this vehicle. All 5 of the occupants fled the area, and we're still trying to identify those individuals. So we're looking for the public's help by looking at these videos. We also have images to share with you of a vehicle that at least 2, if not more, of the occupants of the offending vehicle got into and left the scene. So we're going to share that with you as well. So I'm just going to start here with the officer's body-worn camera video, and then I'll further provide context.
Units, Madison and Hall right now. Involved in a crash.
Madison and Hall, unit to
Kenny, I need you to hear for the dog.
Yeah, man, you're good. Get going.
Dozer, okay? Dozer.
Here, calling his dog Dozer. It looks a little glitchy. I know we have a Dropbox set up that we're going to share with you immediately after this, and we'll take a look and see, because it did look a little glitchy. Hopefully this one will play a little clearer. This is the in-car camera video. It's a little bit longer. You're going to see the aftermath of the crash, and then you're also going to see the officers arrived, including our canine handler who recently lost a dog, our most recent dog death of natural causes. But he happened to be working the street last night. We have not paired him up with a new canine yet. So because of his experience, the officer who's trapped in the vehicle specifically calls for him to arrive, and it's that officer who ends up taking Dozer to the animal hospital on Plainfield. So you'll see how some of that plays out in this longer video.
Kenny, I need you to hear for the dog.
Yeah, man, you're good. Go.
Dozer, okay? Dozer. Foot! Load! 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 Off! Off! 1857, I pinned it. And my canine's door got dislodged. I think he's outside the car. Off! Off!
They're on the way. I'll jump out of the way.
Howie, get the dog, get the dog.
See, one of the occupants of the vehicle actually walks back briefly.
Howie,
5857, the other car still there.
yeah, the car's still here. It's a black Jeep. Someone load that dog and send him up. Dispatch, let Animal Hospital on Plainfield know a canine is coming. Got some messed up back legs. Have them waiting for 1653.
We're calling.
And it's a black Jeep. It did strike me. There's a black male with a white t-shirt that fled. I'm still pinned in this car.
So unfortunately, depending on user usage on evidence.com, it can get glitchy like that. So we'll double check the Dropbox. It plays pretty fluidly through, and it's pretty impactful to see and to hear the officer calling for his dog. You'll hear during the time immediately after the crash when he notices the dozer's outside, he'll say load, load, trying to get the dog to come back in, and that's when he realizes that the dog has lost the use of his rear legs. So they were able to take the dog immediately. One of our canine handlers was able to load that dog up, get him to the Plainfield Hospital, Plainfield Animal Hospital. Last night, stopped by at about 3:30 or 4 in the morning. They're there 24 hours. They helped us with Canine Eli when he was stabbed multiple times. They do a great job, and they did a great job last night, but we did have to send Dozer to Farmington Hills to see a neurological specialist because it appears that he may have like I said, a catastrophic injury to his spine, rendering his rear legs not usable. So we are looking for the public's help in identifying these. It appears there's 5 individuals in this car, 2 front seat, the driver and the front seat passenger, males, 3 backseat passengers are females. There is a Nissan Altima between 2010 and 2014 missing a front bumper. It's a silver vehicle. We're going to share that image with the media. We hope that you all will share that too. That vehicle was used sort of as a getaway car from this incident. I mentioned, I think at this point in time, we estimated that the vehicle was probably going 3 times the speed limit. There were 94 feet of skid marks. If you have 94 feet of skid marks and come to a stop at that 94th feet on the vehicle's own power, you would be going 47 miles an hour. As you can see from this video, they did not come to a stop there. They struck that vehicle hard enough to pin that officer in, to force the rear door open to the dog. So we're talking 75, 80, maybe more miles an hour. Now you might ask a question about where that officer's vehicle was, because that officer was about to proceed through a red light. And I actually have to, you take a picture of it if you like, but this is a preliminary drawing that we made. That vehicle actually, because the officer's vehicle was just out, not even into the bike lane, just into the right turn lane. So that vehicle was traveling at that rate of speed when he struck that officer far into the right turn lane. So if that vehicle had been traveling 80 miles an hour in the proper lane to go forward, although it would have been exceeding the speed limit by 55 miles an hour, it would not have come within 20 feet of that officer. So that vehicle, not only was it traveling at that extremely high rate of speed, it did so in the right turn lane and the bike lane when it hit that officer. So obviously, you guys have heard all of the complaints from around the neighborhoods in Grand Rapids. We hear them every day. Our biggest complaint is speeding, is illegally operated vehicles. This Altima that we're looking for did not have a license plate. This is an issue. And worst case scenario, you're going to have a child killed. You're going to have serious injuries. I am very happy that this officer is doing well. He's bruised, he's banged up, he's not feeling great. He and his family are really upset about the dog. Obviously, we as a police family are very upset about the dog as well. It's very important for us to identify these people, not only for this particular incident, but because we just can't tolerate this sort of activity on our city streets. It's unacceptable. So I appreciate you guys so much taking the time to talk to me. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Chief, why didn't you arrest the female that came back?
You know, at the time, I think I mentioned this already, the officer, the K-9's partner, is actually trapped in his vehicle. The force of the car hit him so hard that the fire department had to use the jaws of life to get that officer out. So he was stuck in that vehicle, dazed and confused. As you see, he knows that there's the offending vehicle is in front of him, but there are other pedestrians around, including individuals on bicycles. There's other people there, and I think the officer just didn't have an awareness because of the impact and the violence of that collision that woman was involved until after the fact, when we looked at the video and said, hey, that's the same woman that's coming out.
The other officers who arrived on the scene didn't know either.
Exactly right, yeah.
Chief, the Jeep and the Altima, is it believed that they were involved in the burglary, or is that completely?
So the burglary actually was a bona fide burglary. Wyoming Police Department, I believe, came and helped us out because a lot of our officers were diverted to this. It was a bona fide burglary. There were 2 burglars in the house. Unfortunately, they got away. We did collect evidence, and we hope to identify and prosecute them. But that's another thing. If this accident hadn't happened, this officer would have been the first one there, and he probably would have, with the help of his K-9, apprehend those burglars. So unrelated to this, now those 2 vehicles did appear to be traveling together, which is something that we've seen, especially with the Hyundai and Kia thefts, of one stolen car will be full of individuals. They'll steal a second car, they'll caravan around. Now, the ownership of this offending Jeep is in question right now, and we're sorting that out, whether it was a stolen vehicle or whether the owner is potentially liable for some way in this incident. Is something that we're still piecing together.
Was the owner of the Jeep present?
Not that we're aware of. Not that we're aware of. No, it doesn't appear so, but we are still talking to the owner to sort all that out. Yeah.
Does it appear that the car veered toward the police cruiser?
This car absolutely veered towards the police cruiser. Now, there's different reasoning for that potentially. A lot of times, if you're talking about a drunk individual, a drunk driver, will have sometimes the response to drive towards bright lights. It's just something that we've seen over the years happen. So whether alcohol played a factor is something that obviously we'd like to look into. Whether the person was just losing control of the vehicle as they tried to slow down or whatever it is, but that vehicle was not on a straight path. That vehicle veered directly at that officer.
Officer, it was hard to tell in the video because it had a kind of glitch. It looked like the officer had stopped, full stop, and was starting to
Not only that, what you'll see in the non-glitchy version, what you'll see in the video when you review it is the officer stopped and he looked, and what he saw was this vehicle that was now veering towards him, and his reaction time was stuff that you'll see a little shake before the accident, and that's the police officer trying to reverse out of that right turn lane so that the person that was coming towards him missed him, but obviously did not miss him. Upon review, when we went out there and looked, if that police car hadn't been there and that individual had gone on that same trajectory, he would have ran right into a building on that corner. So had he not hit that officer, he would have been into that building. In fact, the impact pushed that officer's car right up against that building.
Chief, can you just talk about, the relationship between the K-9 handler and their K-9 and how important special?
Thanks. Yeah. So K-9 officer and their K-9 partner, they have a very special relationship. Not only do they spend every single shift together, but they go home. That is a family pet. So that you have the 2 dynamic. You're working together with this. You rely on this dog every day for your safety to get the job done, and then you go home and it's the family pet. You're feeding him. You're taking him out for walks. You sometimes take him on, family vacations and stuff. So we're not only talking about the impact that it's going to have on GRPD, we're talking about the impact on that canine handler and then the family and all that impact that it has at home. So it's a very big deal to us.
Did the canine get a police escort department in-house?
I believe the sergeant of the canine unit actually took, who's Eli's partner, transported the Dozer. So I believe the sergeant from the canine unit transported Dozer in a police car. Yes. Yeah, and we have. Go ahead, Sergeant.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say,
John.
maybe it was in the earlier releases. Dozer, how old and how many years of service? You know,
Boy, you know what? I don't know how old Dozer is. We'll get that information to you. But something that I mentioned, I think, before you got here was Dozer and his partner were actually involved in an officer-involved shooting. I believe it was in June of 2022 on Prospect, where individuals fired at Dozer and his partner, and the officer fired back out through the windshield. So it was one of those incidents where we didn't have video because it all happened so fast. The officer didn't have time to turn on his body-worn camera video. But so this dog has seen quite a bit of action in his time already. But I'll get the age to you.
You talked about restraints. There are
Yeah.
restraints available. You're taking your pet. Does GRPD use those, and how practical is something like that in a police canine situation?
So an actual restraint for dogs, which do exist in the back seat, is something that's not that practical because the officer has to be able to call upon and release the dog, automatically while he's out of the vehicle. So we don't necessarily have the capability to use the same restraints. However, there are specially designed rear compartments, which we do utilize, that are designed specifically for those canines, and they include extra padding for that dog. So I just think in this case, the impact was so hard enough to crush the officer's door so it didn't open, and hard enough to open Dozer's door, kind of create a gap in the door for the dog to hop out. So I think just the impact was so severe that I don't know if there was a restraint, if it would have made a difference in this case, or if it would have done more damage. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think I heard him say off. Is that a command or something?
Yeah, off is a command, and what you also hear him say is load. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get his dog back in the car. It's like, hey, get back in the car, and that's when he knew when he was giving the command to load that that the dog was unable to use his hind legs. Yeah. So yeah.
How big is the canine unit, GRPD?
How big? We have about eight dogs. Yeah. Yeah. I will say too, it was nice while we were out there last night. MSP canines stopped by. They, a lot of these canine officers in the area, they train together. They have kind of a little group that they always talk. And for the second time that I've been to the animal hospital on something like this, other canine officers throughout the county started showing up to support. We have 4 dogs?
No, he's 4 years old.
Oh, he's 4 years old. Oh, okay. I was like, where'd all our dogs go? Okay. Yeah, Dozer's 4 years old. So, yeah. And he's got quite the personality. If any of you have interacted with him, he is absolutely full of energy, and he's a great dog. Yeah, very effective. I can't thank you guys enough. This is really important to us to get this information out there. So we're looking for the public's help. So I appreciate it. I am very sincere when I say thank you for coming today. Yeah, but happy to answer anything else. I'll stand here all day.
Anybody in the other vehicle was injured in the Jeep? Or?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that because it does. When you watch the video, what you'll see is that the driver immediately gets out and runs. However, because of the damage to that vehicle, we think that there's a good potential that the driver has facial injuries. If you watch the video, you'll see 1 or 2 of the rear seat passengers. One of the rear seat passenger actually is doubled over holding their abdomen very close. So they appear to be injured. There may be more injuries. The force in a thing like that, any of those occupants of the car are at the very least going to be very sore today. But more than likely, 1 or more of them have injuries, maybe even serious injuries, and obvious facial bruisings, et cetera. So we're sure that there are people who know these individuals that can give us the information we need to identify this driver. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, appreciate it.